can't even enjoy Halloween night without, this is a long title, the Holy Name of Jesus Catholic Community of Redlands, providing Christian rock music right smack down. And for any of you who have ever listened to Christian rock, you will never be the same. And not in a good way. So they are big, they're loud, and they perform right downtown Redlands, not far from the gaggle of churches that drop small pamphlets, again about going to heaven or hell, in the children's candy buckets. So in the midst of all this, Hank and Levi are steadily figuring out how to conduct themselves with compassion rather than condescension. They're learning the skill of picking one's battles carefully. And the simple but arguably most effective way of challenging people's biases, which is just to present themselves as decent people. So that if or when it's revealed that they are non-believers, the person they've just had this hopefully pleasant encounter with will be forced to re-examine their preconceived notion as to what they were so sure an atheist is like. So through FAR, my boys have learned also that it's okay for us atheists to admit that we need to socialize and have a supportive community just like churchgoers do. They know that as white American males born in America, they've got it good, okay? That one of the only disadvantages they personally face, besides not coming from great wealth, is that they are not part of an influential Christian tribe. Redlands has put the strength of their convictions to the test. It is a service that I can't provide, and so I'm really grateful to Redlands for that, because my kids now are far less impressionable to any dogma or conventions, conformities, and social pressures than I was at that age. While many atheists of my generation and the generations before me struggle with coming out of the closet for fear of being discriminated against, I have to believe that as more and more children are born into atheist families, they will feel less and less reluctant to open up, to be open. So if my sons, for example, marry an atheist and they have children, it will mark the first generation in my family, after 200 years of being in America, in which their kids will have grown up with atheist parents who were atheists from the start. The stories that Hank and Levi tell their children about their childhood won't consist of being afraid of hell or bored in heaven. They will be far more meaningful than that. 5 years ago, if you told me that in a few years I'd come to love it here, I would have told you that you were out of your mind. But that is exactly what has happened. I still get frustrated pretty much on a daily basis, but my blood does not boil like it did at the beginning. Once you have lost your sense of humor, I've learned you are doomed. For example, in January of this year, in an effort to help my organizing business, I considered joining the Redlands Chamber of Commerce. I attended a meeting which was very well organized. Everyone was friendly and helpful. And then sure enough, before we got started, we were politely asked to stand up and bow our heads as the person facilitating the meeting delivered an invocation in which he asked God to watch over the business leaders of Redlands and protect our police. As the prayer continued, I looked over the large room, the large crowded room, everyone's heads bowed, eyes closed and hands folded together. And then I spotted my one atheist friend in this group, Cerise, who I met through FAR. I shrugged, and she gave me kind of a crooked grin that I felt compelled to return. And it was just a moment, kind of a humorous moment. Then yesterday at Bed Bath & Beyond, a woman walked in with a t-shirt, a young, healthy, attractive woman And her t-shirt said, "Walking with the Lord is my cardio." The marquee on the church, up Church Street, yeah, the name of the street I live on is Church Street. So there you go. The marquee on the church up the street currently says, "Sinners wanted, apply within." Like every week it's a kooky saying like that, again could either make your blood boil or you can have a little giggle about it. It's up to us, right? At my last eye exam, when it was time to test how well I could read fine print, the optometrist handed me a laminated index card and instructed me to read it. So without scanning it first, I began reading the words in front of me, which were, "In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth." This is kind of fun. "And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said," anybody know?
Whatever you like.
That's right. "And there was light." I could barely get through this. Not because I couldn't see it, or because my blood was boiling, but because I could hardly stop myself from laughing. Once I eventually got through it, I said, "Have you ever considered changing the content of this reading material? Because something less religious, because this isn't a church." The young doctor looked rather shocked. "Oh," he said, "I guess I never thought about it. You are the first person to ever say anything." So, for any of you wondering how to find yourself, take it from me and my sons. There's nothing more brilliant than going where you don't fit in. Thank you.
Some cards if you have questions. We'll take 2 or 3 from the audience. And so Jeff's got the back. I've got these up here, so I'll split these up a little bit. So if anyone has any questions, they can write them down and we'll collect them. Real quick to get started, question would be, is there anything you think communities like ours in much more dense, liberal, socially liberal, irreligious areas might be able to do to support groups like FAR?
Oh, just support smaller communities?
Yeah.
Oh boy, that is a great question.
Use the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry, you should have raised your hand during my... He told me to practically swallow it, so I could blame him. Sorry. Thank you. Boy, Evan, I honestly can't think of anything. Do any of you come from a smaller town before? Oh, you do? Where?
Southern Minnesota.
What?
Yeah.
Where?
Owatonna.
Owatonna. What's the population of Owatonna?
That's like 25,000 now, but I lived in Uptown for a while.
Oh, you did? All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how would Minneapolis reach out? How would the Minneapolis atheists reach out to the Owatonians?
Be
That's
available.
tough.
Just what you're talking about. Have events and be available.
Right, right. But I mean, honestly, yes, I started the farm for 3 years around Redlands, but I feel like if anyone's moving mountains in my town, it's my boys, because they are just so unabashedly atheists. It's just amazing to me. They just have no concept of being apologetic or nervous about it. And it just goes to show, like, if you're born into that, it's way less of a struggle. It's purely natural for them to not feel badly for not believing in God. So, but yeah, as far as how, LA could reach out to a town of 70,065 miles from here, I would rather turn that out to the crowd because I don't know.
Okay. We have a question about what about college helps you become an atheist?
Ooh, what about college? Helped me personally? Yeah, well, like I said in my speech, my not believing in God didn't have so, for some people, so as I said, I have, let's see, what is it called? The Waking Up, Leaving My Religion series, and I've never spoken at that because my story, my own leaving and waking up story, is not dramatic. And so ironically, even though I started this series, I've never spoken at it and told my own story. Even though, like I said, I was raised a strict Catholic in a town filled with Catholics and Lutherans. And but as I said, when I left, my belief in God just fell off like a cloak in the wind. I mean, and like I said, I think that all along I knew it was a farce, but I just never was able, in that religious bubble I grew up in, I was just never able to step back and just objectively consider, whether God was real or, like I said, pure fiction. And so my story, a lot of people, their story is they have met someone. Someone has turned on a light. And a professor, a friend, anything. For me, it wasn't that. It was just that all I needed was to step outside my town. Nothing dramatic. Sorry, I don't have a dramatic leaving my religion story.
Okay, last question. Did you intentionally introduce your children to religious teachings at home so your boys would be aware of different beliefs?
Yeah, that's a toughie. What I did was I didn't pretend that I wasn't, an atheist. And what I stressed was that religion is still a huge part of the whole world, and that there's no, for now anyway, and the unforeseeable future, there's no avoiding it. So they would be remiss not to be well versed on all the religions of the world. So that is really what I focused on. And my kids, they already, so Hank was 4 when he came to me and said, I don't think there's a Santa Claus because it doesn't make sense. And I decided, okay, well, it wasn't a spur of the moment decision. I knew that if they had ever asked me whether Santa was real or not, I would say no. And so I said, you're right, there's no Santa Claus. And then that spring, it was the same with the Easter Bunny. And then when Levi, who's 2 years younger, right around that same age. So my point is that I did not have to in any way talk to them about the existence of God, for, against. They just logically deduced that there's not a God. And so that taken care of, I put emphasis, when we would go to the library, people at the library asked if I was a stay-at-home mom, because, and if I was a homeschooler, because I got so many books. And a lot of these books were on different religions, because, like I said, I want them to be able to argue well in conversations regarding the existence of God, and because religion is here, and they can't just not know about it. So, yeah.
Great. One more time for Jill.
Thanks, guys.
All right, real quick, I'm going to make some announcements, and then I'm going to get out of the way so you can get some food. Magically turn back on. Okay. All right, so if you are not a member of Atheists United, we have annual memberships for $45 a year. Our organization survives off of the support of its members, like yourself. We do fundraising beyond that. If we were a church, I would be asking you for 10% of your income. I'm only going to ask for 5. So, no, I'm just kidding. But seriously, I do want you to think about what communities you support and why. Atheists United is out here trying to get active in the community. We try to organize for political activism. We do educational events like this that are open to the public and to our membership. We do community events regularly. And I want you to think about what a continued donation to us could mean.
So if you're mathematically really smart, and especially for you young folks, here's the best deal in town, which I hope you still have going. It used to be, maybe it's a little different now, $1,000 for a lifetime membership. So after 20 years, you've already been paid back for having a lifetime membership. I'm into math, I'm into money, and that's what I did, and I've never regretted it.
Thank you for a life member here. Wonderful. Well, we hope to get your continued support, of course.
You get more than that.
Thank you, thank you. So again, next month, our summer solstice party. Have 2 other local events I wanted to tell you about quickly. American Humanist Association, which is a national organization we're very supportive of, is having their annual conference this June 8th, and they're breaking it up across 5 different university campuses across the United States, and they're doing one at Pitzer College in Claremont. So if you'd like to attend that, it's free to attend. It's also on your upcoming events sheet that was handed out. And then finally, a major local conference that happens locally that we are often great supporters of, which is Logical LA. This is organized by Bruce Gleason, a lot of the Orange County groups, and this will be happening June 21st. So look for both of those events if you haven't heard of them before. July 21st. You're right. July 21st. Ignore this. July 21st. I believe you're correct.
Isn't it the summer, not winter?
It is. Thank you. All right. I